Step 3, sensitive features. We're going to break this one up into a couple different sections. And first we're going to start with dwellings and wells. Often they go together, so we're going to tackle those at the same time. Let's get started. So first thing I like to do is I like to go to Google Maps, and essentially I'm going to take a virtual tour. Not always do you have the ability to drop your little guy down to Street View, but in this case, even this very small dirt road has the ability to. So you can look in at this parcel and you can see that there is in fact a dwelling here, even though it's on a no maintenance road. By the look of it, there is a seemingly permanent structure trailer there. And we also see some surface water, which will come in handy when we do that. So we got one dwelling there. There was another parcel just down the road, and you can look in there, and as you can see, this is more of a camp site more than a dwelling. I don't see any signs of a dwelling, and so we can rule that parcel out. And then we can go down to Street View on the corner here and see what else is going on. All right, we got a dwelling there. Possibly even see where their well is. I see a well right there actually. We can go over here a little bit. And I can zoom in and I can see that they have a drilled style pipe, and we can come back to that later. Go out to the highway here. We got a building over there and the dwelling here, and on the corner we have a dwelling, and potentially behind that dwelling we have another. Nope, it's just that one on the corner here. Okay, so again, it doesn't take long to do a bit of a virtual tour, and you can find out a lot of good information. Looks like there's a dwelling here. Okay, so we can verify that. And then you come down to the corner. There's some buildings down here. These ones are a little bit away from the field, but definitely single family dwellings. And again, you might get no information depending on the side road or wherever your farm is, but nonetheless, these are just tricks and resources that you can use. So this here, I'm looking at that, and the number of vehicles and the number of windows and the size of the building tells me, and there's a P.O. box or a mailbox there, that indicates the number of recycling bins, indicates that this is not just a single dwelling, but this is in fact a residential building where there'd be different units. So that is helpful as you need to define residential areas versus just dwellings. And then this here, although on satellite imagery might have looked like a dwelling of some sort, is in fact not a dwelling and are some sort of utility buildings that we can get to later. So getting back to our map, we see all these assessment parcels that kind of indicate the different small properties, and we can then go ahead and start identifying them. I'm going to take our symbol that we can get down from our legend, and I'm going to copy it a bunch of times. And then we're going to drop it in. And we can turn it so that it matches. Oop. Let's lock that so that we don't end up dragging it around. We're going to turn that so that it matches where the dwellings are. The dwelling was over here on this one, and the shed was down below. There's the dwelling here. corner. And that we're going to leave alone because that was a residential area, which has a different identification than the orange dwelling label. We didn't take a virtual tour up there. Let's not forget up there. Ensure that these are in fact dwellings and that they're not businesses or shops or anything like that. So we got a dwelling, and last one, we got a dwelling there too. Good. All right. Our dwellings are all identified, and this one here, due to the fact that the setbacks to the residential areas are from their boundaries, we're going to come up here to this drawing tool, and we're going to draw a custom shape. Around this guy that we know is we're going to go fill, no fill. In our line, we're going to match the line color to this one here, which was this one, and we're going to make it up to a 3 so that it really stands out and we don't miss it. Good. And we don't have to necessarily circle the building because there's no actual building that setback to the actual building. It's actually the property boundary, so that's why I do the symbol around the property. So that includes the identification of the dwelling, minus this one here, which we know it's a utility of some sort, but we will get to that later. Next, we can generally assume that each of these dwellings is going to have a well. And so in order to get an idea, yes, we're going to verify each and every one of them when we actually go out to the site to inspect, but there might be some information that we can gather before we go. So Omafra Maps, the Ag Maps here, has a wonderful tool. In order to get rid of your field boundaries, you can hit the eraser and you can clear them off. So if you come down here to the well tab, you can actually click them off and a bunch of wells will pop up on the map if there are records of them. Now you might say, why are there wells in the middle of the field and in all sorts of different places? And I would say I don't exactly know, but these wells and the well records all need to be verified, and oftentimes they aren't in quite the right place. So although grueling, it is helpful to go through each and every one of them that may affect your site. And so we're just going to, you're not going to watch me go through every well, but I can give you some tips and pointers as to how to use these well record information. So I just clicked on the information point, clicked on the well that I'm curious about, go to water, view well record, and it pops out with the actual well record. So first thing we're going to be interested in is the depth. And so this one here, depth in feet, says it's 220 feet. The regulations determine a drilled well of anything 15 meters or 50 feet or more of a watertight casing. So we know this hole is deep enough, but we don't know what casing yet. So here, casing open hole record, it says that there's a steel casing. The thickness of the steel casing, sometimes this isn't checked off as legible, but it's 1.88 millimeters, and so that will be a standard measurement that you will see for drilled well casings. And it says that it is this steel casing from plus 2 feet above grade down to 53 feet. So that tells us right there that this does in fact fit the definition of a drilled well. And then it carries on down to a depth, total depth of 220 feet. So this is a drilled well, and some other information that you can see. It tells you why, find a status of the well. And so this actually has this marked down as a test hole. And the water use was to be used for a subdivision. And so this doesn't seem to be either in the right place, but it is in fact a drilled well. So if you're seeing a subdivision on a well record, bells should be ringing that this is potentially an area where there is a municipal well. And municipal wells have a greater setback and also do not allow any nutrients to be applied within 100 meters of this well. So not sure exactly how to use this one on this site yet, but definitely very good information knowing that this was a test hole for a subdivision. And these maps are very helpful because obviously they're, with the wells not always being in the right location, you'll want to verify with these drawings of the actual well driller as to whether or not the well is in fact in the vicinity of where you're looking. So I can tell that this one is in fact in the correct road and in between the correct roads, and so I do think that this one is relevant to the site. So we're going to exit out of that one, and we're going to come over here to those buildings. These buildings seem to have a well, so I'm going to identify point. I'm going to click on that one, and I'm going to go into this well record and see what this has for us. So again, looking for what type of well this is. Zoom in a little bit. So we see that the total well is 77 feet deep, and we have a steel casing. The well thickness is larger, 365, and it's plus 2 meters above grade down to 62 meters. Excuse me. So we can tell right away that this does in fact meet the definition of a drilled well of the correct depth. And then coming down here, we can see water use. This is in fact a municipal well. And so we definitely need to verify this well location in order to ensure that we meet the correct setbacks. The other thing that you have to consider is a municipal well will have a wellhead protection zone that needs to be considered. So we will get into that in a different sections when it comes to the source water protection. Also, a little hint as you look through these well records, this identifies that multi-unit apartment building as an apartment. So we can cross that off of the verified list as we inspect it for its well. And so right away, I'm going to go over to my map and I'm going to say, hey, there's a municipal well in this area that I need to verify. So I'm going to copy that over, and I'm going to say it is in this general area and I need to verify that. And simply you're going to go around to all the different wells, see which ones are applicable, which ones aren't. A lot of these ones are not applicable as they're just out in random places, and some of them are. And so typically if you see them in a lot that is kind of beside a house in a logical well location, it's probably a safe bet that there is in fact a well, a proper one. So again, this one is 1.88 millimeters thick, total depth of 77 meters. The casing, it's 0 to 60 meters, and then it goes down to a open hole from 60 to 79. So this does in fact meet the definition of a drilled well. So you can grab your drilled well icon, copy it out of your template, and you're going to put that on there. Now you're going to verify all of these in person, but at least you'll know what you were looking for, because if I can show you here, Typically your drilled well looks like this image right here. Might have different colors on the top and the hose, but nonetheless it's going to look like a pipe of that thickness and about that height sticking out of the ground. But there's a lot of variation. Some of these pipes can be below grade, covered up. Some of them can be underneath decks. Some of them can be in garages. It's a wide variety. Oftentimes you have to knock on the door. You should do that regardless before you wander around, but it is sometimes quite the hunt to find them. Your dug wells, they typically look like this. They're older, they're shallower, they're built of concrete, which is not waterproof, and so you're looking for a large concrete thing that can sometimes be buried in tall grass and not always on a nice manicured lawn like that. So you need each and every well that we're identifying from the mapping program needs to be verified. And if you recall from our virtual tour, we found a well that was right here, and lo and behold, there's not actually a well in the correct spot. I'm not sure if it's this one or not. We can take a look. So this looks like it's on the other side of the road, and so it does not belong to that property. So not every well has well records. Not every well record is 100% accurate. But as you can see from the information that we gathered over by the municipal well, this is critical in ensuring that we're not overseeing things out at the site. Otherwise, you might have drove past that building and said it's some sort of utility. It's not likely to have a well because it looks like it's just a storage shed, and you'd carry on and you would miss the fact that there is in fact a municipal well there. That concludes the preparation of the pre-site preparation of the location of dwellings and wells. A little bit of work to do, but it is definitely worth it with regards to ensuring that you're not overlooking information.